Friends, UPSC Mains examination is few days away. From Sarat Chandra IAS Academy, we are bringing to you tips for essay writing. So here, in this presentation, for each tip, I will providing you how to use it in the UPSC essay questions. I have chosen some of the old questions of Civil Service Mains examination and applied these tips to them so that you can understand the application. Now, let us start directly with introduction. A good introduction that is impactful, creative, can fetch you little more marks. So here, I am discussing about three types of introduction that you can use. First one is, you can start with a story. The story can be a fictional one from the mythology or from the history of India, or any story that you have read in the newspapers recently from the current affairs, or it can be your own story. For example, in 2015, for the essay that is given, education without values, as useful as it is, seems rather to make a man more clever devil. For this essay, you can start with a story from Indian mythology about Ravan. Ravan is a great scholar, well educated, however, he does not have good ethics, moral values or character. So, you can start a story with him. You can say he has got good education but no values, because of which he is more a clever devil. And after starting the essay in that fashion, you can come over, write about the other aspects of the essay. Similarly, 2017 essay, Destiny of a Nation is Shaped in Its Classrooms. For this essay, you can start with example of any person you know. For example, Satyendra Dubey. Satyendra Dubey was an Indian engineering service officer who was one of the project directors of the Golden Quadrilateral. So when he was working there, he found out the corruption in the projects, but he knows very clearly big people are involved in the project, but he has enough fortitude, that is courage, to bring out the corruption. Even he has gone to the level of taking risk on his life, and he was murdered, as you all know. So people like that who have got good moral values are shaped in the classrooms. So we can say that classrooms has to shape tomorrow's citizens who have strong knowledge, strong moral intelligence, social intelligence, along with the professional skills, good cognitive intelligence, etc. So you can start the essay in that fashion. That is one way of starting the essay. Second type of introduction which I am going to discuss is, you can start with a quote. But remember, just like how you have done your 10th class or college level, just writing a quote and then starting the essay does not fetch you good marks. Once you write a quote, you have to briefly explain the meaning of the quote and relate that quote to the essay topic given in the examination. For example, in 2013, one of the essay topics was GDP along with GDH would be the right indices for judging the well-being of a country. For this, for example, you have started with a quote saying a pauper with perfect health is better than a rich person with poor health, deteriorating health. So you have to explain it. For example, you say that for a person, the wealth is not the only important thing, a good health is also important. The quotation clearly says that a person having very good wealth, if does not have enough health, is equal to a beggar. So you can take it as you can apply the same thing for a country. A country which is economically very strong, which has good GDP, but which has poor happiness index. Poor happiness index is not as good. So like that you have to take a quotation and relate with the essay topic. Similarly, for example, in 2015, another essay, character of an institution is reflected in its leader. Here you can start with the quotation of Swami Vivekananda, where he says, wealth is lost, nothing is lost, health is lost, something is lost, character is lost, everything is lost. But you have to continue the meaning of the quotation with the topic given in the essay. Here you say that, for example, in any institution, if economically or financially any problem is there, it can cope up, it can come back and it can become successful. However, for any institution, if character is spoiled, such an institution may not be able to come back easily. For example, you can say examples of some institutions like Satyam, where you know very well of Satyam scandal, Sahara. Here you can explain how the leader of Satyam or leader Sahara because of not following good ethics or because of having poor character is reflected in the institution also, which has led to the fall of those institutions. Similarly, the other side of the coin, you can talk about Infosys or you can talk about Tata, where its leaders having strong ethical values are able to reflect their character in the institution. As you know very well, Infosys at some point of time has poor financial condition which was about to fall, but they are able to bring it up. However, they always stand for strong ethical values. So with these examples, along with the quotation, you clearly explain to the evaluator that the character of institution comes directly from its leader. Another type of introduction, the last type, is you can directly start with the definition of any word in the essay or some statistics. Particularly, you can use this type of introduction for essay topics in which some tough words are given which you think needs some explanation or definition. For example, in 2016 on essay topic, jobless growth in India, an anomaly or an outcome of economic reforms. For this, you can directly start by defining what is a jobless growth. You can say an economy that is growing without showing proportionate growth in the number of jobs is called jobless growth. You can define it and you can prove it with few statistics. Like 2011 census says that the average economic development per annum, though it is 7.7, the employment growth is just 1.8%. So you can show some statistics like that to prove the question given in the essay. This is another type of introducing. I would like to say you can use any type of introduction. However, each type, either a story or a quotation or definition and statistics, depends on the type of the question that comes in the examination. So you brainstorm few types of question and keep in hand ready some stories or some quotations or some statistics. Now let us move on to next tip which you have to follow to grow your score in the examination. That is continuity in the body of the essay. Most often what happens is, as you are writing the essay, one paragraph you may write about the social issue, next paragraph you may write about the economic aspect, next paragraph you may write some current affair topic, whatever. So knowingly or unknowingly you will be missing the continuity or flow of the essay. So here I would like to tell you that please try to be careful and show to the evaluator that your essay is very continuous. Sometimes when you think it is not continuous, at least try to use some connecting words like nevertheless. In the beginning of the paragraph, you can use a word, since, however, nevertheless, these kind of words, so that it appears as if the paragraphs are continuing, as if there is a logical flow. For example, here I have shown you 2017 essay, one question, fulfillment of new women in India is a myth. For that, you can read the first paragraph. You read one paragraph, then you write however, and then you continue the essay. So these kind of paragraphs would appear as if the entire essay is flowing very logically and continuously. So please follow this tip. Coming to the next tip or idea that you have to definitely use in any essay. So you might have heard from several toppers that you have to write multiple dimensions of any essay. For example, simply you keep in your mind the entire syllabus of UPSC. GS paper 1, history, society and geography. GS paper 2 is polity, Constitution of India, government schemes and international relations. GS paper 3, economics, environment, science and technology, internal security, disaster management. GS 4, ethics. So all these things you can try to use in your essay writing. For example, I have chosen one essay to show how you can actually use all the dimensions. In 2013, one essay, science and technology is the panacea for the growth and security of the nation. For this essay, I have chosen different dimensions. First one is historical dimension. If you go back some 30 to 40 years, you can say how India invested in the atomic energy, nuclear energy, okay? And you can say how Pokhran test has helped to increase security of India and how nuclear power helped in the energy security of India or growth of India, economic growth of India. This is historic dimension. You can use international dimension, international historical dimension. For example, industrial revolution where UK used the science and technology has helped the country to grow very powerful in the entire world. Similarly, geographical dimension. You can talk about the borders. In India, the states which are having an international border can increase the surveillance through science and technology using better equipment, which will help us in the peace and development of the nation. Now go for environmental dimension. You can say we can conserve the forests, conserve the greenery of India by using satellites for better monitoring and real-time monitoring of forests in India so that you can conserve them. Go for social dimension. Society, the safety of women can be improved by using technology. For example, you can use GPS tracking missions. You can see in Ola app, there is some SAS technology which helps to track the safety of the women. Similarly, social dimension over constitutional dimension. Remember, not only for essay writing, for any question of UPSC, as much as possible, try to use some article in the constitution which is relevant to the topic. For example, science and technology, you can say Article 51A, fundamental duties. One of the fundamental duty is to develop the scientific temper, humanism and the spirit of inquiry and reform. So you can use that. You can use the constitution article. Then legal aspect. Science can be used, technology can be used in the forensics to help in criminal investigation. To solve the cases faster, it will actually improve the safety. Similarly, ethical dimension. You can say that you should be very careful that whatever innovation or science that you use should not go into the hands of anti-social elements. So, science with ethics only can help you in the growth. Then come for the economy aspect. In the banking, you can use ICT for easy banking. Similarly, for governance also, e-governance you can use. In disaster management, early forecasting of cyclone or flood, whatever, will help you in better disaster management. So here, for the essay topic, I have used different dimensions. In similar way, you can use different dimensions, and I am sure this will fetch you more marks in the essay. Come for the next tip. See, one thing that I believe will help you in keeping very close to the essay topic is you often keep on repeating the words given in the actual essay. For example, in 2017 essay, destiny of a nation is shaped in its classrooms. Here, you better use the words destiny of the nation or classrooms repeated at least some 7 to 8 times in the essay. Similar anything, for example, in the previous example, science and technology is a panacea for the growth and security of the nation. Throughout the essay, at many places you have to use growth of the nation, security of the nation, growth of the nation, how it is a panacea. So you have to use the words repeatedly in your essay so that the evaluator actually feels that you are keeping your essay very close to what is given in the examination. You are not wandering around the topic. See, here I have shown you how the same word is repeatedly used. Now, next tip, which was actually suggested by several people is that, and most of the toppers actually use this, that is, as you keep on writing the essay, it is for 1.5 hours. So, in this 1.5 hours, if you read the heading only for once and start writing the essay, you may actually deviate from the essay. So, once in 10 to 15 minutes, come back and read the heading again and again so that you can keep very close to the essay. Second thing is, you can use the words again and again. That will also help you in the same way. Next tip. See, as this UPSC examination, they expect you to mention most of the current affairs, government reports, government schemes, judgments of the Supreme Court, any committee recently formed by the government, any acts or laws passed by the government. These kind of things shall be used. That is the demand of the UPSC examination. For example, any essay on agriculture, you have to use Swaminathan committee. Any essay, for example, talking about fisheries, use Meena Kumari committee. Similarly, if essay is on women, you give some Supreme Court judgment like Vishaka guidelines, based on which 2013 Act was formed, Prevention of Harassment of Women in the Workplace. Similarly, any essay on the interstate relations, center-state relations, or any governance aspects, or any public administration topics, you have to definitely use the recommendations of second ARC or Law Commission reports or NCRWC, National Commission to Review the Working of the Constitution, that is Justice Venkatachalaya Commission. These kind of things you have to definitely use in any essay on governance. Similarly, for example, if the topic is on industrialization or MSMEs or cottage industries, we are talking about the recent government scheme Aspire introduced. So only these kind of current affairs or facts spread throughout the essay will give you more marks. So when you read the essay topic, for first half an hour you will be making a rough essay, right? In making a rough essay, you consciously write down all the schemes or facts you know about the essay so that you can use them in the writing. Next tip is, you have to balance the facts and opinions. Often, when I correct the papers of my students in Sarat Chandra IAS Academy, I observe that some students mostly write their opinions. They use very less facts. Some students continue with statistics, facts, etc. But both these things are wrong. You have to consciously balance your opinions and facts. For example, recently I have guided some of the students in the essay writing last year mains, and they have got good marks by actually changing this one element. They balanced their facts and opinions, and they fetched more marks than their previous mains essay writing marks. So please be conscious in this aspect. For example, in 2017 essay, the topic was fulfillment of new women in India is a myth. This is the question. For this, opinions means, lines like attitude of men towards women should be changed, or confidence level of women, though they are sarpanch, is very less because of domination by husbands. We call it as sarpanchpati. So these are all opinions, your opinions. Whereas facts, like 17th Lok Sabha has only 14% of women, it's a fact. Or 2011 census, literacy of women is only 60%, whereas for men it is 82%. So the second set of things are facts. So you have to balance both of them. Next important tip is, to fetch more marks in the essay, you have to use suggestions, solutions. You cannot just write the facts or whatever. You have to give some remedies. You have to identify the problems. You have to give your own suggestions. Because as a bureaucrat, that is what is expected from you. So you have to show your bureaucrat mentality. Maybe you are a good public servant, the mentality in the essay writing, by providing some solutions that you think are feasible. For example, 2017 essay has actually, the question was, farming has lost the ability to be a source of substance for majority of farmers in India. Observe carefully, in this essay question, they did not ask you to give suggestions or solutions. They did not ask you. Even if they haven't asked you, you have to give solutions. That's what I'm telling. For example, for this topic, you have to differently write that crop insurance has to be increased, penetration of insurance should be more among the farmers, and extension services regarding the health of the soil, how to use fertilizers or how to use drip irrigation should be encouraged, and more laboratories have to be set up to test the soil, or maybe the market access to the farmers shall be increased, maybe through national agriculture market, etc. These kind of suggestions you have to give even if they haven't asked. That is one tip you have to follow to fetch more marks. Then next important thing, I feel essay is a chance for you to show your character to the evaluator. For example, you can show if there is patriotism in you, you can show it through some of the lines, patriotism or compassion. You should show that you are compassionate towards weaker sections, vulnerable people, women, old people. You have to show your emotions towards how you want to help the farmers or downtrodden, how you actually want to eliminate poverty in India, malnutrition in India. Means you have to show your character in the essay. So sometimes if you get opportunity, choose an essay topic in which actually you can show who you are. That actually gives you more marks. See, essentially you have to try to impress the evaluator. That's the fundamental point here. You'll be confused of how to conclude the essay. So in the examination hall, you cannot think of how to conclude. You have to prepare beforehand some 3 to 4 types of conclusions so that you can apply one of them based on the type of question given. So here in this presentation, I would discuss 3 to 4 types of concluding an essay. One type is you show optimism, you show hope. For example, if you're talking about the empowerment of women, you say India is going in the right direction. People like Nirmala Sitharaman, Kiran Mazumdar are ray of hope for the women empowerment in India, and they are an inspiration. That is one way of concluding. Second way of conclusion is you just sum up in a brief way whatever you have written. You select all the very important ideas of the entire essay. you write them once again in the conclusion in a very brief way, summing up. That's also a good way of concluding. Third way of concluding is, whatever story or quotation you have started in the introduction, same quotation or similar story you can use in the conclusion, so that it gives a kind of kick to the evaluator, because introduction and conclusion. As you see in some of the movies, director starts with one frame and he continues the movie. Towards the end of the movie, you use the same frame, same thing you use. It gives kind of kick to the audience. So you can use that one. That actually can be used only when you think you have some kind of creative introduction or conclusion. So yeah, these are the three types of conclusions generally I would suggest. Now, after discussing all these things, there are few more points which you have to keep in your mind to fetch more marks in the essay writing. I would go through some of them quickly. One is, use small paragraphs. As I evaluate the papers of my students, I always feel those students whose paragraphs are maximum 6 to 7 lines, I can evaluate it very easily, so that there is a chance that evaluator will be happy. Second one, you may use simple language. If you have good vocabulary, it's okay, go ahead. But generally, you can use simple language. Don't try to, consciously don't try to use better words and all. Third, don't try to use floral language. Third tip is, see, in between the essay, if you feel due to some reasons you wrote a paragraph or a line which is out of sync, which you think is really a bad thing that you have done, simply strike it off. Don't panic in the essay, in the examination. Simply strike off the paragraph or the line. It doesn't matter much. You will not get less marks because you have struck a paragraph. Then, what you have to do when you get the question paper? First half, see, every essay you have 1.5 hour time. In that 1.5 hour, spend half an hour in making a good flow chart, or a good rough of the essay. Just jot down all your ideas, all the facts, all the opinions that you have, all the current affairs, government schemes, whatever you mention. Write down quickly all those things and then arrange them in the right order in the half an hour. In the next 1 hour, you just write it in the format of the essay. That is the best thing. Then, one more tip is, you try to more width than depth. You try to cover more areas in the essay. However, be careful. See, I would tell you here the balance. You no need to write 20 ideas, 20 things in the essay. At the same time, you should not write only 3 or 4 ideas throughout the essay. You have to balance them. Some more tips are, you have to better see, you have got few days for the mains examination. So, in this time, you just bring the Yojana books or Kurukshetra books of last 6 to 7 months, go through important boxes. You can by heart some important sentences. Some of sentences can be directly used as paragraphs in the examination. But you have to choose only important areas which you are expecting in the examination, like internal security, women, environment, health, governance, this kind of things. So, one more thing is, you select an essay for which you have got more points. It can be easy essay, very easy essay. For example, do not think that among the choices given to you, do not think that you have to select a very tough essay so that you can prove to be a hero. Because even if you select a tough essay, if you write less points in it, you will get less marks only. Even if you select a very easy essay, if you write lot of points, you will get more marks. So choose an essay in which you think you can give more points. One more thing is, you can also choose an essay in which you think you can use your creativity. Next one, by heart some quotations of famous personalities like Gandhi, Vivekananda, Abdul Kalam, Nelson Mandela, etc. Choose those kind of quotations which you think you can use in several topics, rather than quotations which can be rarely used. Then you by heart some statistics on the women, or on the crime rate of India, or population statistics, or statistics on agriculture, industries, or an economic survey, some statistics, or budget, some numbers you by heart, okay? Or particularly you by heart statistics on environment, women, health, education, ethics, these kind of things. Because there will be at least 1 or 2 essays in civils examination every year on this type of things. Then as you have some time, you choose some 10 essays, take 10 essays, you brainstorm them with your friends or any of your faculty, just brainstorm them so that you will get a lot of ideas before the essay. It will boost your confidence. When you go to the examination, similar brainstorming can happen automatically. Then you go through some websites of some institutions which have uploaded the evaluated copies of the toppers. Last year, previous 3 to 4 years, UPSC toppers, essay copies would be found in some websites. You just go through them. Then quickly go through. This is one idea which I felt will be truly useful for you. It will actually increase your confidence and ability to write essay very freely, with a free flow. That is, you sit down for some 5 to 6 hours, you bring some editorials of different newspapers, particularly select those editorials which are talking about major issues like Indian economy, economic vision of India, governance in India, or the problems of women in India, or environmental things happening in India, those kind of issues. You bring some 30 to 40 editorials of some good newspapers, Hindu, Indian Express, quickly go through them for some 5 hours. As you go through them quickly, your flow for essay writing will increase, it will enhance. This is the thing you have to do in the last 1 week of the mains examination. Then one more tip is, you never take extremes. Always follow a middle path. Means never try to give any extreme opinions in the essay, anywhere in the essay. Then see, I briefly have written down some of the things for which evaluator gives good marks. Means based on what I have heard from some of the evaluators who were there in the UPSC some time back, and some of the seniors who told me recently, some experts. That is, one is they give some marks for introduction and conclusion. Then they give marks for the number of dimensions, means various aspects that you have explored in the essay writing, means breadth of your knowledge. Breadth of your knowledge they give marks for. Then the use of current affairs, because in UPSC examination they always see how aware are you about the things happening around you. So use of the current affairs will fetch some marks. Then coherence in the thoughts. For example, some people, when I personally read the papers of some of the students, some students in some paragraph they will talk as if they are a socialist, in some paragraph as if they are communist, again some paragraphs as if they are capitalist. Means that there will not be any coherence in their ideas. So never be like that. Okay, whatever you want, whatever person you are, you try to show the same person throughout the essay. That is called coherence. Then continuity. As I discussed already, you try to consciously be continuous in essay. There are some marks for continuity actually. And logical analysis. For example, before you come to some opinion or some conclusion, show some evidence, show some proof. For example, if you say that representation of women in the parliament is very less, this is your conclusion. So use some statistics. For example, only 14% women are there in the 17th Lok Sabha. Then hence you can say that it's very less representation. Like that, it's called logically you come to conclusion opinion. Rather than directly coming to something, use some logic, have some logical flow in the essay writing. There will be some marks for that this logical flow. Then clarity of thought expression. See, you should be very clear of what you want to express. You don't need to express very great ideas. There won't be any good marks for great ideas. Ideas can be very simple, but clearly express them. In fact, one of my suggestion is use very short sentences. Don't write any sentence of more than 1 or 2 lines. Any sentence of just 10 words, 9 words, that's all. Use short sentences, so evaluation will be very easy for the evaluator. Then originality and creativity. See, of course, this cannot be implemented. In fact, if you think you are creative, you have some original ideas, try to choose an essay in which you can write, you can use your creativity or show original ideas, because definitely there will be some extra marks for originality or creativity. Then you know the facts and opinions. You have to show that you know the facts, you have to show that you have opinions. Marks will be given for both of them. Finally, solution suggestions. In UPSC, not only essay writing, even in the answer writing, there are some marks for your suggestions or solutions. So clearly, by following these tips, you can fetch more marks, and you have got some time. In this time, you try to implement these tips in some of the essays. And from Sarat Chandra IS Academy, we can provide you whatever support you want. If any of the students have written an essay, they want to send it to us, you can call us on this number and you can send your essay to us. We will evaluate your essay and we will give you the last minute tips or any suggestions so that you can improve. Thank you.